Howdy folks, and welcome to World of Warplanes with the mighty Jingles. No, don't laugh, at least not yet. Remember, you guys dig up the salt, I'm the one that does all the laughter. Yeah, World of Warplanes 2.0. The game's had a radical redesign, so I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I had extremely low expectations. I really wasn't expecting much out of this. The thing is, you have to remember where World of Warplanes was. It was pretty much a disaster. It never felt like you were flying an aircraft. For all its faults, that's something that War Thunder nailed right from the start. You never felt as if you were just chasing a mouse cursor around the screen when you were playing War Thunder. They nailed that sense of immersion. You really felt like you were in charge of an aircraft. That's not something that World of Warplanes ever managed. It was also horribly badly optimised. I mean, I'd played mobile games that looked and handled better than World of Warplanes did. There was never really one thing that you could point to in World of Warplanes and say, yep, that's it, that's the reason why this game sucks. There were just too many things wrong with it. And so, it's fairly safe to say that I approached World of Warplanes 2.0 with very, very low expectations. So bearing that in mind, what you're about to see is something that I never actually anticipated was going to make it onto YouTube. What happened was that as the game was downloading, and before we got to the stage where all of the HD textures had been downloaded and installed and only the SD client was available for play, I thought, I'm just going to pause the installation here, jump in, and play a game, just to re-familiarise myself with things. I fully expected to suck, because I had no idea what I was doing. It's been a long time since I played World of Warplanes, and one of the things that I can remember being wrong with the old game was that the default flight controls for mouse and keyboard were completely counterintuitive. So I was expecting A, the game to look like a dog's dinner, B, for it to be mostly unplayable due to dodgy control setups. I was not expecting to be producing something that was worthy of going up on YouTube. Boy, was I in for a surprise. The first thing that impressed me was it doesn't look too bad at all. Remember, this is just the SD game client. The HD textures have not yet been installed at this point. The second thing that I noticed was that it's actually quite smooth. And the controls, at the moment I'm lining up for a bomb run on something that I'm guessing I need to drop bombs on. I don't actually know, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm struggling to remember how to drop bombs. So I thought, well, how do you do it in War Thunder? You hit the spacebar, and yep. So the controls are actually quite intuitive. And I don't feel like I'm chasing that mouse cursor around the screen the way that I used to when playing World of Warplanes in the past. You see, the trick with a game like this, and something that World of Warplanes never got right, was to make you forget that what you're actually doing is chasing a mouse cursor around the screen. You're not actually flying an aircraft. The trick is to make you forget that and make you feel as if you are flying an aircraft. In the past, the very badly optimised game engine and the terrible frame rates, the stuttering, the screen lag, all contributed towards not giving that impression. But that's all gone now. The feel of the aircraft, it just feels right. It feels smooth and responsive, but not too smooth and responsive, because I'm flying a Bristol Blenheim. It's a combination heavy fighter and light bomber, and so it shouldn't be able to throw itself around the sky like a Spitfire, and it can't. It just feels right. This, by the way, is the one thing that I do remember from the loading screen. This is the only key command that I could actually remember prior to going into the mission. Press T to switch to the tail gunner on aircraft that do actually have tail gunners. I'm probably still doing all kinds of things wrong. For example, when I was firing my 20mm cannons at that incoming enemy fighter, there's almost certainly a key that I can press to lock onto him, and to lock onto that guy up ahead, for example, to give a gunsight lead indicator to aid in shooting down targets. If there is such a key, I don't know, because I didn't bother testing any kind of control configuration before I jumped into this game. And yet, it's intuitive enough that simply by guessing where I should be pointing the nose of the aircraft, I am able to score hits and shoot down aircraft. And that's a very, very good thing, because the default procedure in World of Warplanes used to be install game, get excited, pick an aircraft, jump into battle, have absolutely no idea what you were doing, be almost completely unable to control your aircraft, get shot down lots and lots and lots, then uninstall the game in disgust because it sucked. And that does not happen with World of Warplanes 2.0. The controls are intuitive, the aircraft have just the right degree of responsiveness to make you forget you're chasing a mouse cursor around the screen, and actually give you the impression that you're flying an aircraft. You don't need to know what all of the controls are. Obviously you'll do better if you do know what all of the controls are, and there aren't a huge amount of them to remember. And you'll also do better if you know a few things about basic air combat maneuvers. But you don't need to, and you shouldn't need to, because this is an arcade flight game. It's supposed to be accessible. Everybody's supposed to be able to just jump in and play it. And as I am quite comprehensively proving, that's exactly what you can do. I still have no idea what I'm doing beyond drop bombs on and fire guns at the red things, but that's kind of the point. And it's helping to prove my point. The fact that even though I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, the game interface, the flight controls, everything about it is way more intuitive than it ever used to be. So no, I have no idea what I'm doing. Is there an aim assist button, for example, that I could be using to lock onto that target up ahead? Maybe, but I'm still hitting it and causing damage even without it, because I'm just pointing the nose of the aircraft where I would expect to have to point it in order to be able to score hits on a target. And oh look, I'm scoring hits on the target. It all just works exactly the way it should. Exactly the way it always should have, but hasn't until now. But Jingles, how do you know you're doing well? You have no experience of World of Warplanes that's less than a year old, so by what standards are you judging your performance? You have no idea if you're doing well or not. Well, that's a good point. We're just going to have to wait for the post-battle results. This is a new game mode, by the way. This is something that I only became aware of after actually playing. I wasn't aware at the time, because I just jumped straight into a battle without bothering to find out anything about World of Warplanes 2.0 before I did it. This is what they call the Conquest game mode. So even if I'd played World of Warplanes last week, I still wouldn't really have much of a clue of what I was doing in this particular battle, because it's a brand new game mode. There are almost certainly things that I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing. There are probably things that I'm doing wrong. All I'm doing is dropping bombs on and firing my guns at the red things. And, well, surely you're not going to go too far wrong if that's what you do. And in fact, I didn't go too far wrong. In fact, you'd probably be very, very surprised at how not too far wrong I went. Pilot's injured. Oh, it tells you exactly what to do. There we go, pilot's back in action. Lighten up that guy on my tail with the tail guns. And he looks like he's broken off the attack. I think we might be in Egypt, Jingles. What makes you say that? Oh, I don't know, it's just this vague feeling I have. This guy's coming right at me. Ooh, mid-air collision. That really, really hurt. There's things happening. I'm not sure what they are. But I'm having fun. Yeah, I know. Jingles having fun playing World of Warplanes. When did this happen? Not for a very, very long time. I'm not having to worry about controlling the aircraft. I'm not trying to fight the control scheme. I'm just flying the aircraft and shooting things up and dropping bombs on things. And yeah, that was a defeat. And probably a large part of that was my fault, because I didn't really know what I was doing. But at the same time, I've earned 6,575 somethings and 780 something else's. I told you I was jumping into this cold. I have no idea what's going on. You might be surprised to see, however, that 6,575 somethings, whatever the hell they were, that's actually experience, which I found out by having a look at the team score after the battle, once the game had ended and I was back in the hangar. And you will be stunned to hear that just flying around shooting at things that looked like they needed shooting put me top not only of my own team on experience earned, but the enemy team as well. Remember, they won. So, this is a good thing. This is the very definition of ease of access. This is as pick up and play as it gets. In fact, the most complicated things about World of Warplanes 2.0 is what happens when you're in the garage. There are so many new options being thrown at you, as well as the new game modes. It's kind of like World of Warships, where you're sitting there in the hangar and you've got events and challenges and missions and campaigns that are popping up. And, well, I've been playing World of Warships pretty comprehensively since the game was in closed beta, so these things kind of crept up on me and were introduced a bit at a time, so I've gotten used to them. In World of Warplanes, however, it's all completely new, and it can get quite confusing. The least complicated part of the game is the actual flying around and shooting at stuff, and that's the way it should be. Well, I thought, you know what, I didn't do too badly, I'll have another go, but this time I waited until I'd fully installed the HD client. And I have to say, it does look better, but it's not so much better that you feel as if you're being robbed if you're not playing it with the HD client installed. Which means that if your PC isn't particularly powerful, you can play with the SD client and it still looks pretty damn good. I make no apologies, by the way, if you were expecting a comprehensive review and gameplay guide going into the game mechanics and the control schemes and the options, the aircraft customization features, all of the new campaigns and missions and all of the new stuff. If you were expecting an in-depth review and guide to that lot, well, you're going to be very disappointed in today's video. I'm actually quite happy with the way things worked out when I made the decision to say, screw it, I'm just going to jump in and play it and see what happens. Because it's given me the perspective of somebody who's completely new to the game, which I suspect may be of more use to you guys, because given how few people ever played World of Warplanes because of how incredibly bad it was, the vast majority of you guys are also probably going to be people who are very, very new to World of Warplanes. So I think that this video is really going to give you the best possible perspective on what has actually changed and what about the game that's changed that's actually going to matter to you. Over and above everything else with World of Warplanes 2.0, the intuitive controls, the sense that you're actually controlling an aircraft rather than just chasing a cursor around the screen, I was having fun. And that is not something that I ever anticipated being able to say about World of Warplanes. So for that reason, if for no other reason whatsoever, the developers definitely deserve to be praised and congratulated. They've managed to take an unplayable dog's dinner mess of a game and make it into something that I actually would consider playing for fun. You know, a week ago if somebody had said to me, I'm bored, do you fancy a game of World of Warplanes? I would have just laughed and laughed. I wouldn't have stopped laughing at them. But I might actually consider that today. I have actually had fun playing this. No idea what I'm doing, but that never detracted from the fun that I was having. And more importantly for everybody else on your team, because nobody wants to be that guy, do they? Nobody wants to be Steve, the World of Tanks IS-7 driver, who has absolutely no idea what he's doing, and it's just no use to your team alive. So more importantly than the fact that I was just having fun, like Steve, the IS-7 driver with no clue in World of Tanks, I was actually contributing to the, well, I hesitate to say success of my team because we lost both of the games that I played, but I was by far, I mean by a country mile, way ahead in experience earned of everybody, not just on my own team, but also on the winning team. In both of the games that I just jumped right into, just by doing what it was that I thought needed doing, even though I didn't actually know what it was I was supposed to be doing. And I had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah, I know. What, Jingles had fun playing World of Warplanes? What planet did I wake up on this morning? I know, I was as amazed as you are. This is what the game should have been like all along. You should be able to think, screw it, I'm bored, I'm going to play some World of Warplanes. Play some World of Warplanes, have fun, and be able to do at least reasonably well. Without that much effort. The aim with World of Warplanes was never to produce Falcon 5.0. It shouldn't have been hard to play. But they had very definitely gotten it right at last. Well, they have at this kind of level. I'm only at tier 4. I have no idea what the gameplay is like at higher tiers. The game dynamic may change completely. I don't know. I suspect I'm going to find out, however, because this is definitely a game I'm going to be playing again. Oh, this is not... Oh, right. Yeah, that's a lot of enemy aircraft. Yeah, it turns out that the game is not completely idiot-proof. Because I should never, ever, in a light bomber, have gotten involved in that kind of engagement. Still, at least it does go to show that, like I said, the game's not completely idiot-proof. If you make stupid decisions like that, you are going to get punished for it. As you should.
All positions are captured by the enemy. You must turn the tide of the battle.
Oh yeah, it sounds like we're losing again. What a surprise. Oh, anyway. So, okay. Conquest mode. What is it that you're actually supposed to be doing? Apparently, and I didn't know this at the time, I'm just looking for red things on the map and dropping bombs on them and firing guns at them. Apparently you're fighting for domination over various different control points on the map. And holding those control points brings in points, and the team that fills up the progress bar first wins. So you have infinite respawns. I think it just takes a little longer to respawn each consecutive time you get shot down. I didn't know any of this when I was playing it, of course. All I was really doing was using the highly advanced next level tactic of looking at my map every now and then. You can laugh. But when you see the results screen of this battle, it turns out that I was probably one of the only people on the entire team that was even aware they had a map. In that respect, the game is shockingly similar to World of Tanks and World of Warships. It's map. We don't need no stinking map. Yeah, I've just seen your score on the post-battle results, Sonny Jim. I really do think you needed a map. And I don't think you're the only one on my team who could have benefited from looking at the map every now and then. So yes, that was once again another shocking defeat, and this time I earned 5,345 experience, and I suspect that's free experience, the 660. Bunch of awards. Didn't technically do as well in this game as I did in the last one. That's a third-class mastery rather than the second-class mastery, but once again, I've just jumped straight in cold and just done whatever it was I thought needed doing at the time. And once again, in fact, it's even better than the first game. This time around, there's only one person on both teams who even came within 1,000 points of the experience score that I amassed from just jumping in cold and doing whatever felt right, aided by taking a look at the map every now and then. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't have to study a manual the size of the Hong Kong phone book in order to figure out how to play the game. I'm not quite sure why it seemed to be so complicated for everybody else on my team 2 games in a row, but, well, you know, it wouldn't be a Wargaming.net product if you weren't having to carry your team by the scruff of their neck every time you play. But it was fun, and that's not something I ever expected to be saying about World of Warplanes anytime soon. And that's exactly the way it should have been the first time around. It took them a long time to get to this stage, but they are finally there at last, and I will definitely be playing this game again. It's simple to pick up, it's fun, it's intuitive, and it makes you feel like you're at the controls of classic fighter and light bomber aircraft. And that's all it ever needed to do. Wargaming, if you're looking for a quote to put on any advertising for your newly rebranded World of Warplanes, you can quote me. The mighty Jingles says World of Warplanes doesn't suck anymore. I suspect they probably won't be rushing to slap that all over their advertising, but it's the best thing I can say about the game. It's fun, and I will be playing it again in future. And that's it for today. With that, on that literal bombshell, World of Warplanes isn't shit. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.